Hello, welcome to my special broadcast. I'm so excited to support you at this particular time here as we are moving through an economic downturn where things are up in the world of money. And I hope that you'll leave this broadcast today seeing this as a phenomenal opportunity rather than a devastating event in your life. And I'm going to explain to you why this can be a passage for you, a portal of sorts for you to move to a different place with money. Whenever there's an upset, it's a potential setup for us to create something different. I'm Carol Tuttle, and I'm the author of 7 best-selling books. I'm particularly well known for my 4 types energy profiling system. Say hi in a comment where you're tuning in from. What's your type? I recently released a video on your money profile because when I prepared the course that I'm about to launch this year for 2020, the 30-Day Money Cure 2020 Pandemic Edition, I wrote for the first time when I wrote that course what your tendencies are with money. And I refer to that as your money profile. That video went up last week or the week before. It's on YouTube. It's here on Facebook. It's on my website. But it's very valuable information for you to understand your tendency with money. And that's going to be our first conversation today is what are some things you want to watch out for when it comes to your type and money? Because you'll create a financial crisis at this time when you do not need to. Let me bold that, underline it, highlight in yellow. Just because the collective story is talking about a financial crisis, you have a choice. You have a choice to be a part of that collective energy, or you have a choice to create your own financial experience. I believe that 100%. I've lived through financial turmoil. I've lived through being incomeless. I've lived through unemployment. I've lived through having more debt than I ever thought I would see in my lifetime. What would be equivalent to current times about $120,000 in credit card debt. This was in the early 90s when my husband and I were jobless, penniless, and had all kinds of expenses, 4 children, and we were just mounting debt every single day. I know what it's like to live with a financial crisis. I know the feeling of it. I know the thoughts. I know the energy of it. I know the state of being when you're in that crisis. And I can say 100% what got us out of that was changing my thoughts, my feelings, and my energy, and then everything shifted. And I've curated a 30-day experience that will not only do that for you, it will change your life for good. And honestly, there's never been a better time to do it. Even though you may be saying, no, we've got to be more conservative right now. We've got to be careful. We've got to be prevent. It's an opportunity for creation bigger than ever when it comes to money. You can come out on the other side of this particular experience because everything cycles, everything has patterns in our world. And this will shift as well to a better place. And you can shift yourself in the midst of it to you can move through it before the collective energy does. If we're moving through a portal of energy to help us change for the better, you can move through it faster when you have the tools and the information and the support to guide you through that. Let's first talk about those tendencies for each of the 4 types. And then we're going to have my 3 guests. Each has a very poignant story. My first guest is someone that was on a fixed income who completely transformed her life because she changed her beliefs rather than saying, that's not possible because I have a fixed income. We're going to hear from Jane Nikhil and her miraculous story of some pretty amazing things that manifested in her life. And then we're going to hear from another type 3, Jenny Edwards, who's actually representing herself and her type 2 husband, that what happened in their life because of her change, what changed for him, because I hear that a lot as well. But I'm not the one that creates the income. I'm the one at home. How can this help if my husband's the one in that position? Doesn't he have to do this with me? Let's learn their story. And then my last guest, she is a type 4 who I'm sure is challenged right now with that big picture dilemma of, whoa, in our current state, if it doesn't change soon, it's not going to look very favorable. She represents a stay-at-home mom with a husband he has lost his job. And we're going to learn how they want help. And I'm going to help her today shift that. So a few announcements. Then I'm going to announce some giveaways. And then my tips for each of the 4 types. Then we'll get into our guests. And tomorrow we start the Mother's Day sale. All of the items in the Dressing Your Truth online store are on sale. Mother's Day, you can buy amazing earrings. You've got hair products, makeup products, some really wonderful. Buy yourself something, whether you're a mom or not. You have the gift of maternal energy. Gift yourself with a nice Mother's Day gift. Tell your family what you've chosen for yourself. And then when you join, here's the trick. You may not know this. For those of you buying product that are not lifestyle members, did you know if you join lifestyle, you'll get your shipping for free, which is often more than what your monthly membership fee would be, which is just around $12. Plus you get a coupon code every month. And in May, the coupon code for a one-time purchase will be 10% on top of the already Mother's Day discount prices. So you might want to be, really be the smart shopper and become a lifestyle member for the benefits, because it's going to save you money. And then our 30-day money cure starts on May 18th. I'm very excited to take you through this round this year. It's our 4th season. We do it once a year. It's already helped thousands of people transform their experience with money, to put them in a place of affluence with money rather than that place of struggle and conflict. If you want, start with the quiz. Go to caroltuttle.com/money quiz. It gives you a, how are you doing right now with the current events? Is it bringing up more fear for you? I would think it would be. That's what these events are designed to do. Bring up our old programming so we can heal it. You can also go to the sales page, right to the sales page, caroltuttle.com/money cure. And then if you want to go do my clearing, I did a special clearing, and there's a, in my masterclass, caroltuttle.com/masterclass. So Money Cure is a great experience. Now, our 4 types. Each type has a money profile. The type 1, I call the free flower. The energy needs to stay light. Their energy is light. It's open. It's adaptable. And they have a tendency, I'll do that after this. Sorry. I'm going to skip my success stories because we got 3 guests with success stories. But the free flower is just open and free. Now, that can look really kind of ugly when it comes to money, because it could be, I'm free flowing money I don't have. And I'm in this sort of knee-jerk reaction of just stress. And I'm doing these quick purchases to help lighten the mood and make me feel happier. That's sort of like the event of the online buying, or giving yourself something, or eating out, or whatever. It's like, whoa, it's a quick hit. It's not supportive, and it gets you into a place you don't want to be, because you're not being strategic with your money. You're not being thought out with your money. But you need to keep a certain amount of money that's designated for that. If money becomes serious and heavy for you, you will shut down when it comes to money. You'll disconnect from it. And when you're disconnected from the energy of money, will money flow to you? No, it can't find you. You're disconnected because you don't want anything to do with it. It's too heavy. It's too serious. It's a burden. So you'll disconnect. Even subconsciously, you're going to disconnect and go, why isn't any money showing up in my life? Well, it can't find you. Money is a current. That's why we call it currency. It flows. And you are that point of attraction or not. And so you've got to keep money your friend. Money needs to be your friend and a tool that helps you move through life with spontaneity and lightness. And there needs to be, even it's $10 a month that you've designated for that kind of free form, free flowing with it. You've got to give yourself that benefit. And money needs to be, money is my friend. Money, I feel like we are best buds. I did not feel that way 25 years ago. I hated money. I felt life would be easier without it. And I didn't want anything to do with it. I was angry at it. And it was like, poor me, how come we don't have any money? And it was my husband's fault. Not really. It was a lot of my own beliefs. So together we came together and shifted this. But really, I have this just great adoration and appreciation for money. One of my favorite affirmations that I share in a recent video that I put out is I appreciate money, money appreciates for me. And I do appreciate money. I have just so much regard for it, so much gratitude for it. So then our type 2 energy is flowing, soft, relaxed, subtle. This is connection with, and yes, you can have a strong connection with money, but in a place of worry. So kind of check in with yourself, on my type 2 viewers. Are you connected with money right now through worry and concern and keeping it close? Don't spend anything. Is not flowing then. Again, you're stopping the flow because you've got to keep that, I call you the nest egger. Got to build my nest. Got to keep it close. Can't let it go. It's the same thing without being able to easily let go of things in your home. You know, what all these piles get stacked up because you're not keeping the flow going. My mother always used to say, well, no matter how many times I put away those piles, they will recreate themselves. And she finally came to understand as a type 2 that was true. But at least she kept her piles flowing. Are you keeping your money flowing by being smart in your choices? So you're not out of fear, keeping it from flowing, hoarding it. No. And stressing when anytime you spend that money. Are you making correct decisions with your money that keep it flowing, that are a sense of reassurance? Because you'll stop the flow. Money needs flow. Type 3 is our builder. I'll do the giveaways right after these 4. The builder. I'm a type 3, and money is this huge factor of results. Money shows a lot of results. It's just fun to look at numbers when it comes to things growing. And so you need to have this ability to build and flow money, so there's a substantial quality of it moving and building, but you'll get so fixated on that it will get stagnant based on the fact you're doing overs. Type 3s have a tendency to be a little OCD with it and get too fixated on numbers, or just not doing enough, having enough background and information about purchasing, and not always making the smartest choices, and being overly confident at times. And so you've got to watch all that, because that can get you into that tricky place when you're now sort of painted yourself in the corner and you're like, dang it, I don't have the resources that I thought I'd have, and I moved too fast on that one and it wasn't really the smartest move. And now I'm having to kind of get myself out of this scenario. And that, again, will cause more energy that's then applied to things that are making up the difference, that are not favorable. And so you got to watch these tendencies as a type 3 and have people in your life that really are good at accountability with keeping track. I have that. I'm not the one that logs everything every week, but I have people that do that. They keep me accountable because they're very good at that. That is their orientation. I'm good at creating scenarios where money can flow and grow. I'm not real good at managing all the parts and pieces and the accounting, but we track every single penny. And so that keeps me accountable because I know my shortcomings and I could get myself in a tricky spot. Now, type 4, that's our analyzer, and that energy is very focused and very big picture and very thorough. And so analyzers can do very well with money. Yeah, where do they stop the flow? By taking control over it, because they don't trust people then with the money, or they feel kind of an ownership, especially you're in a partnership. And if the type 4 is the one that has the position to flow the money, they'll take on that role of thinking, well, it's mine and I'm sharing my money with you. And that's not a partnership when it comes to money. That's being controlling with money. But there is this kind of over analytical approach to money that says, I've got to keep, I know where every penny is. I know every place it goes, and I want a say on whether it should or should not. And very problematic because it creates discord and disconnect and lack of ability to come together, so that we have one person's money influencing, one person's energy influencing your money flow in a partnership when you need both. Partnerships need both energies. That's something we teach in the Money Cure, is how to bring both your money profiles together to create more flow and more acquisition and more accumulation. And so those are all things you've got to watch for at this particular time, that you're going to be actually being doing overs in them, because when fear's coming up, it generates our dysfunction. It really feeds potential for dysfunctional behaviors. When fear is processing, all you got to do is tell yourself, this fear is not about the current events. This is an old energy. It's actually from your root chakra. The current events of our time have really opened up and allowed the old programming of our root energy, which is all your basic physical scenarios of survival and making it in the world and taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, being safe, being cared for. And when anything presents that threatens that, these old programs come up that the reflex is to overreact. You saw that with the toilet paper purchasing. I thought that was fascinating, because I'm like, root chakra, that's down at the base of your spine. Like, oh, there was nothing in the pandemic scenario that suggested that toilet paper would be a big player as far as a personal need. It's just that the commodities of our time that people start to fixate on and say, that's what we need. And then it just is this ripple and domino effect of like, well, I guess we need it because it's all going, so I better get mine. But that's all fear-based, provoked behavior. And you've got to look and see, what am I doing in my life that's being provoked by fear versus being informed, being wise, and making correct choices. Very different place to be. And we're going to talk about that today with my guests, because two of my guests are in that place that they're able to be proactive because they've done the Money Cure. And then my third guest is one that's seeking that kind of truth at this time, and I'm going to help her and her husband get there. Our giveaways today, I felt really moved to help 3 people today. Here's the deal with the giveaway. You will not all qualify, but I hope you'll celebrate this for those that do qualify. I'm going to give away 3 Money Cure courses, but you have to be in a position where you honestly 100% feel like, I really, really, really want to do that, but it would not be a wise choice for me to spend the money I do not have, use the money I do not have to do that right now. You have to be in a position that is really compromised in order for you to qualify. I'm going to let you decide if you are that person, but we're going to give away 3 courses today to 3 people that are in that situation to help them. Because as each of us chooses to do this kind of work, we help all of humanity make a shift. It's very powerful what few can do for the larger fold of the human race when we do this kind of deep work on what I call the energy plane. So my first guest, Jane Nikhil, many of you know her very well from her posts in my lifestyle Facebook group. She's a regular contributor there, and it's been so fabulous to see her journey as it has unfolded over the last few years, and her to always share her authenticity and being the journey of her own healing and her experience of finding herself and really coming to live a life of, it's always a process. I'm still in that process, but she's really found herself in a place I don't think she thought she would be. If I had told her 5 or 10 years ago, you're going to be living, you're going to have some things you think you're never going to have in your life. So it really shows the power of this work. So let's all thank Jane for being on the show. Say hi to her in a comment.
Hello.
So Jane, first of all, I was surprised to learn you were a former police officer.
I was. Yep. I worked for 14 years in law enforcement.
That's amazing. I guess you would be good. I mean, they do have a lot of TV shows with type 3 women.
I like the variety of every day.
Yeah. Did you have a specialty in that? Like, what did you deal with mostly?
Well, actually, I was hoping to go into working with juveniles and domestic violence, that kind of thing, or a liaison between the schools. But then, of course, my career was cut short by a work injury.
So you were put on disability. So you were then you had an injury, which really forced you to leave your profession.
Yeah, the injury was in the line of duty, and I asked for backup and I didn't get it. So, you know, choices made, and I ended up having to retire.
And what is the phrase? So you were put on permanent. What is
Permanent partial disability.
okay? Which then because in the world of law enforcement, there then is they pay a certain amount for that being kind of put in that position.
Yep. So it's a duty disability retirement, it's called.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so it's a monthly paycheck beginning of the month, and so you have to
What you call then a fixed income.
Yeah, so a fixed income, that was the biggest thing.
So when you learned about, you had said that you'd heard about a lot of the things about manifestation. You were familiar with this whole idea of, you change your beliefs, you can change what happens in your life and things like that. But when you came to choose to do the money cure, if you're on a fixed income, that had to be a pretty big choice for you to even invest in that, I would think.
It was. I'll give you a little background on that. I did hear about the manifesting and things slowly over, I've been following you for 6 years. So slowly over that time, it's like you hear about abundance and you hear about this and you hear about that, manifesting things. And it's like, whoa, how does that work? And things were starting to work for me prior to the money cure 2 years ago. And so I was seeing results, and I thought, my first was an old belief that came up of, you can't afford that. You can't really spend that money. And then when it was offered in 3 easy payments, it made it more feasible for me. And I thought, how could I not invest in this and change my life? And
you had already seen some big shifts from knowing you were a type 3, and just kind of like your self-awareness had really peaked at that point with self-identity. Because I remember seeing you get to that place of just like, whoa, things can change. I'm not stuck here.
Right.
You're already well on your way in that. And so there were 2 things that you had a great desire for.
There was. And this was prior to the money cure. And I had known about manifesting the heart's desire. And so I wrote it on a little piece of paper. And it was a red pickup truck and a 3-bedroom lake home. And so I folded it, like I said, and I put it on my refrigerator behind my calendar because I didn't want other people to see it. But I knew it was there. And so I would think about it often. So those were the 2 things that I was trying to manifest for myself.
But that was before, then you entered the money cure experience, where really the process of the 30 days is helping you see your patterns, your stories you run, what you came from, identifying your family's money experience, clearing it, your own limiting beliefs, clearing those, and so what were some of the major beliefs you started to see that would keep you between what you really desired? There
were a few of them. One was the fixed income. It was like, where was I going to get the money? It was, things were not going to change there. So how was I going to gain, or how was I going to get ahead, or how was I going to get better? Another one was, I thought I needed a partner. I thought for sure that I could not accomplish this on my own, no matter how much I was desiring it. I thought I needed I needed dual income. There was just no way a single mom was ever going to have those heart's desires, so those were a couple of them that really were the big ones. And I had put a cap on, I even thought, well, if I only had $35,000, wouldn't that be wonderful? That would make my finances all better. I never thought to ever dream that, geez, maybe I'd like $100,000, or I could be a millionaire. So that was another limiting belief that I had to drop the cap that I'd put on for myself. Yeah. So
the thing I say, people are like, well, how's it going to happen? And I always come back with, that's the part you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, that's the thing that I stick with all the time. It's like,
a lot of people's minds can't wrap around that, though, man. They just go, oh, like, wait, I need to know, did you have challenge with that where it was like, no,
You
I
know,
can't just believe it. It's not going to drop out of thin air.
I had to, I mean, that's exactly what I thought through this whole thing was I just had to believe that it was going to happen. I didn't have to know where it came from. I just had to believe. And that's where I changed my thinking was, God will provide. It'll just happen. I mean, there's so much abundance. There's enough there for me.
Okay, so tell us, you did that, and then the story started to morph to support you. So tell us the story now that formed for you to get your red truck and your lake house.
I know. So anyways, I know I did. So it was actually, the truck came a year prior to the money cure. And that was because I was already doing some of using some of the tools you had taught. And so one day it was like Spirit had guided me onto the parking lot, the car lot. And it was like, I turned the corner and there was this beautiful red truck. I'm like, that is the one that I've been envisioning, in my dreams. And I thought, oh, if I can afford it, is it in my budget? And I turned the corner and saw the tag and it was like, that is it. And, I know what, as the story I told you, it was like, the finances were tough because of a bank error. And so I wasn't qualifying for a truck loan. And all of a sudden I find out the next morning to deal on it that my finances had cleared. And it was like, I got the truck and the loan that I didn't think I could. I mean, for years I had been denied a loan because of a bank error. And so it was like, all of a sudden that was it. So I took the truck home.
That's awesome.
And then I took the money cure because I thought I was seeing results and I knew that this was a good thing. And then almost immediately after the money cure, I, because of my disability, it's not a taxable income. And so all of a sudden the insurance company, the insurance for my health insurance I was paying premiums for, they discovered all of a sudden out of the blue that I didn't have to pay premiums. So that was an increase in my wage, basically, because I was no longer having, so I didn't have to know where it came from. It just came. It was like, woohoo, the universe opened up and there I was with hundreds of dollars again, extra that I wasn't expecting. And so there was another example. And then
how did the house show up?
And then the house I had a first and a second mortgage because I'm kind of, as you know, I'm a 3-1. And so it's like instant results and I wanted things done. And so I was putting money into my house and I was, finances were tough. And so I thought I would refinance last year and combine the two because I would still be saving more money each month. And it ended up that my house appraised at $45,000 more than I knew it was valued at. And that was the kicker. I sold the house. I had the money for the lake home and away I went. It was like, just like that. It was like, I didn't know. I mean, we don't have to know where it's coming from. It just shows up. And it showed up for me.
Your lake, your dream house on the lake. And you've shared some video of that in the Lifestyle Facebook group, which has been really, really fun for me to watch because I know how much this has meant to you. And I am thrilled for you. I think it's so fabulous.
This lake home has been a dream of mine since I was a little girl. I'm back into my hometown where I grew up, which is wonderful because I'm surrounded by family. But it has always been a dream to live on the lake since I was a little girl, because that's where I would go to escape the things that were happening in my life. And here I am.
Right. It's a place of healing for you.
It absolutely is. And
cool.
And I moved my mom in with me. So, there's another thing. I'm financially set that I can care for her in her years. So
that's great. Well, you're going to do the money cure again with us this year, which we're excited for.
I am. Just imagine what can come.
What's the next item on your list? Do you have one?
Oh, I got to start dreaming.
I know.
Wow. What would it be?
I don't know. Can you put boats on your lake?
I need a dock. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Yes, that dock. That's awesome. Well, thanks, Jane.
You bet. Thank you for having me.
It's great to talk to you.
See ya.
So I love that. I love that she shows on so many levels the possibilities. And it is challenging for people to let go of the How? When? What do I have to do? That is the big thing in the world with money is we've got to do something. And I can guarantee if you'll work on your energy first, the doings will come to you. You've got to change the energy that you're operating in rather than try and fix your experience by doing something. Fix your energy and everything starts to morph. It's phenomenal. I mean, who knows? I mean, I like to think that maybe that wouldn't have looked like it did without the work she was doing and the beliefs she was changing. That would have been a very different story. So we changed the story and how things can show up for us. My next guest, Jenny, is also a type 3, and we have some things in common that we're both married to type 2 men. And the tendency when you have one energy that's a little more extrovert in its nature, and they're the ones with the work experience and the job, which was mostly until I launched out on my own around 2000, 2003. My husband was the primary income flower, and he is not a go-getter like me. And I was trying to get him to go out and get it done, like, come on, make things happen. So she had an experience with her husband where he had been unemployed or underemployed for about 2 years. And that's really challenging for a spouse because you feel on so many levels like your hands are tied because they need to be the one when it's set up that way, as it was in our experience, because I was the stay-at-home parent. It was just so frustrating when you wanted this to change and you felt like you had to depend on them to change it. But we're going to learn from Jenny some things she did that powerfully changed this for both of them. Let's welcome her to the show. Hello.
Hi, Carol.
You relating to those frustrations?
Yes,
Like,
completely.
do something.
No, that was my biggest lesson was, well, during this time, the first time we did the money cure, I did it on my own. I thought I was a type 1. So the energy was all over the place. It just wasn't aligned in our house. And then the second year,
I think you did from a place of disconnecting from how hard the situation was. So you related to that, and you were really scattered because you didn't feel you weren't in a role you really believed on the what can I do about this. You didn't have a role that you could do anything about it. See, so that probably kind of blew your energy up.
Yes. Yeah. And once I got into alignment with that and realized how push forward my energy is, at the time I didn't realize my husband was a 2 for sure. I thought he was either a 2 or a 4. But once I realized what my energy was and was more of a push forward, and that I was probably pushing my energy onto him, that was my biggest realization was I'm blocking things because our energy isn't aligned.
It had the opposite effect than what you thought it could provide. So you figure in the lifestyle content, one of the most valuable videos that I think we've produced in the last year, and that's saying a lot because I consider everyone having value, but that yin yang lineup, because your husband is most likely a 2-4, and you're on the other end of that lineup. And so you two are living in different worlds in a way. And you're pushing him, which causes him to shut down. It does not motivate. They retreat.
Yeah.
They remove and they can't move forward. And so he's going to be stuck longer. That's the thing you learn in the money cure is the things you're doing that are actually, you think they're an asset to your partner when they're really a detriment.
Yes.
So what did you start to learn about yourself and your own beliefs? Because I always say, there's a reason you're in this and he's playing a role for you, A common one for women is men don't support me. Or it was, the old family story where, your dad didn't ever make enough money and your mom complained. There's just variables in this whole thing. What did you find out was kind of your contribution to creating the story you were having together?
One of the repeating themes I've seen is I have to do it all myself.
Okay. That would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that would come up for you, I bet.
Yes. Until I was able to take a step back and realize people don't do things the way I do them. He definitely does not walk through life the way I do. And once I was able to take a step back and realize he needs the space to just do things the way he wants to, because we've both always worked, but he really wants to be the male breadwinner. And that's always been a goal of his. And he felt
he wants to be the primary income in your supplemental.
Yes.
Okay. Which is fine. You know, there's no right or it's just whatever works for your partnership.
Yeah. And I wanted to support him in reaching that goal because it was not only beneficial for him, but it was beneficial for us as a couple.
Right.
I'm always going to work anyway. That's not going to change, but I wanted to support him in reaching that goal. And the biggest thing I was able to do was just back off, let him do what he needed to do at his own pace, and support him in getting there.
Yeah, as you were learning in the Money Cure, the scenario you were in was showing you, bringing up, triggering the issues you carried of your own beliefs. Like, I have to do it myself. People aren't there for me. You know, here we are in this, he can't provide, you know, and so you were able to work with that and see this situation showed you all of that, which then once you clean that up, it opens the energy. And once you took your energy off of him, so to speak, and he was free to move forward in his own truth, what happened for him?
He had been working temp jobs, temp contracts. He had this vision in his mind, the type of company he wanted to work for, and the job that he really wanted to get back into was human resources. He got a temporary contract for a great company that was only supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks. He, in the course of this, was extended 3 times. So it ended up being 7 or 8 months and ended in a full-time offer. So he's now working with them full-time, loves it.
And still working right now?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, he's there permanently full-time with them. They
compensated, like you said, one of the patterns was underemployed or not compensated, which is a type 2 thing, not appreciated in full value, you know, willing to take less in their income than they're worth, that kind of pattern.
And
so that's all shifted.
Yes. And he was stuck in a pattern that he wanted to help other people. And one of the reasons he hadn't left his former company, that was 2 years ago now, was because he didn't want to leave his coworkers in the position that he was in. So he was trying to help them get into a better position at his expense. Not detriment, but it kind of held him back at some point because he wanted to help other people so much.
That's awesome. And then you went on to you made a change as well in your employment that showed up. You went about it very differently than him.
Yeah. I had a scarcity mindset also came up during the whole thing, that I thought that I was stuck where I was with nothing better coming along. And one day, like you said, out of the blue, very type 3, I think it was probably 11:30 at night, I was like, I'm going to see what's out there. So I started looking for positions online and just sent in a bunch of resumes, and it was for a local hospital. And within a week, I received a call for an interview. And within another 2 weeks, I received the job offer.
Oh, that's awesome. Is it administrative or are you part of the medical staff?
It's back office.
Okay. So, and you're there and you're still working. I imagine you're still working.
Yes. Yeah, they transitioned. It's great. If I were
moving through this feeling quite secure now, and now you have the resources to support your own belief system to stay independent of the bigger story of fear.
Yes.
which is huge to me. To me, that is my buffer right now, is like, I can choose what I focus on, no matter what the bigger focus is. And that's being exercised bigger than ever right now in my life.
Definitely.
And these tools are so valuable right now. And so you're going to be in the money cure again this year. And your husband, now, you made those shifts on your own. See, a lot of this, which I love, one reason I wanted to have you on my special broadcast today was that you were able to help through your own going through the course. You helped shift the energy for both of you. And now he's showing, he's participating and gotten involved. And so that's pretty typical, but we see massive things change even if one partner gives their attention to this, which is what you've done.
Yes. And I had no idea that was my part, because I felt like I was failing after going through the first year. Not really much had changed. And then when I made that realization that my energy was definitely more of a factor than I realized, that's when I really started seeing the biggest shifts.
That's great. Well, I'm excited to see what shows up for you this time around.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jenny. And tell your husband thank you for sharing his story. And we're so happy for his success and yours.
I will. Thanks, Carol.
Okay. My next guest, she stay-at-home mom. They have 1 2-year-old. Her husband recently, last month, lost his job. So they're really feeling the side effects, as many people are, of this particular pandemic when it's hit our financial experience. And he had been there for a little over a year and felt confident in his financial situation. And they really felt they'd made, this is the disheartening part about some that people are dealing with this, is they had been in a position now to save money to buy a house. And there's now in the current events, without that income, they're having to use that, which they had hoped to buy their first home. They're now having to use it to just support their day-to-day cost of living. And so this is just, again, as I've said, you've got to feel the feelings that come up with that. I'm not someone that just says mask it, just pretend everything's fine. It's like, no, you're going to feel the grief, the anger, the frustration over that. It's going to cause conflict in a relationship because this is stress. Anytime we're dealing with a stressful situation, that stress gets kind of projected onto each other. You have to be willing to say, this is a part of this personal crisis, a financial crisis that we're dealing with, and we've got to get tools. We've got to get skill sets. We've got to help ourselves now do this so we're successful through it, rather than being, waking up each day hoping something better shows up, because you can be actively engaged in a process. And that's what I teach you in the Money Cure, to help you shift your current scenario. So you're working together in pursuit of that and still feeling the discomfort of the current events. That's a real thing. So everyone, please welcome Carly. She is the type 4. Appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing your story with the public, Carly.
Thanks.
You've got to tell me if this is true for you, because of a type 4, you're very aware of are you the one that manages the finances, first of all?
No, actually.
But you're aware of them? Are you involved with him?
He helps. So my husband's really great with numbers. His job was data analysis.
Okay.
So
you're aware of, do you share that information pretty openly as a couple?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're partners when it comes to your financial experience.
Yeah.
It's just that he oversees the management and he's the one employed. And so you're aware as a type 4 then of those specifics of the cost of everything. So every time you spend money or things come up, there's got to feel this sort of I always felt when I was in that situation, I was giving a piece of myself I never get back. I mean, it was just very overwhelming and then very much in preventative mode. Try not to spend, as much as we cannot spend anything, hold it. And then you see the big picture. So I think in your mind, you're dealing with that. What if how long is this going to go on? What's it going to, you'll go out there, and that's stressful, I would imagine.
Definitely.
So that it's just overwhelming. And then you get in a place where money becomes the least, certainly not your friend. a very horrible topic. Do you come from, first, let me ask you, your family story, was there, was income something that was easily achieved and maintained, or was it a hit and miss? What's the story with the family you come from when it comes to your finances as a family? Do you have any?
It was pretty tight.
Okay, so you know it was tight.
Yeah, my parents didn't really talk about it openly.
Okay.
And whenever I wanted to spend something like new shampoo, even, they were like not super open about letting that happen.
Okay, that was a risk to spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the thing that's similar is you're now in that situation, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You were raised in that environment. You're now repeating that environment. So you do have a skill set to kind of survive this environment. It's not unfamiliar.
Yeah.
So the thing is, energetically, you have a relationship with that minimal, lack of financial support.
Mm-hmm.
Your energy is patterned to kind of like a puzzle piece. You fit that story, unfortunately. But that's what we want to get to, for the fact you want to change that. That's their story. That's what you've come from. Is there something of a similar quality for your husband's background?
They weren't really sharing about it, but there were times when his dad had lost a job and they had to survive that.
Okay.
It wasn't super often, but
it was a come and go kind of thing. We get ahead and then something would happen.
They're really stable now, though, whereas my family, my parents.
That's irrelevant, though, there now, because it was the environment you were trained and programmed to become associated with when it comes to money. We develop our money programs as children, and we then create repeating stories that allow those programs keep the story going. And so that was a story he learned, was you had a good job and then out of nowhere you lose it. Okay. The good news of that is, we aren't the original authors of this stuff. We want to create something different. We want to create consistent flow and accumulation in our story. And so in the Money Cure, and I'm actually going to gift you and your husband with the Money Cure. I want you to go through that program, and you qualify for my. You're a qualified candidate for me to give it to you today. The trick is, this is going to be your biggest trick. You have to you've heard me say all through this broadcast, you've got to keep the energy flowing with money, even when you don't have in your story an activity that's flowing it. Money is a source of energy, doesn't know you don't have that job right now. So you have to pretend. That doesn't mean you're spending it. You still want to be smart about, you choose to not spend from a place of confidence rather than a place of fear.
Okay.
That's a big difference. When you're in that place of fear and we can't spend and you feel like a victim, versus we're going to change this. I'm confident and I'm choosing not to spend, but I'm going to keep feeling like the energy of money's flowing into my life.
Okay.
And that's where we teach things like, I teach things like just even doing energy circles and throwing in those statements, and then doing figure eights with money, keeping it flowing, pretending you have the money. And there's games that you play, and it keeps the energy open and flowing. Because you've chosen, in the notes that were shared with me, you've put yourself, you're in the energy of a hiring freeze and a lost job and a hiring freeze.
Yeah.
Is money flow in a hiring freeze? No. So you've got to exit that. And that's all in using your energy skills to create I'm excited that a job's going to show up. It's going to be better than the previous one. And I'm just like Jane said in her story, I don't have to know how. I just know I have to believe it will.
Okay.
And keep the energy. Money is a current. It wants flow. And here's that difference. When you spend money from the place of victim and anger, everything shuts. When you don't spend money, when you say, I can't spend any money because I don't have an income, there's a hiring freeze and I'm really angry, or I feel really disempowered by that. It's like everything, the doors close. The money can't flow to you. When you say, I'm choosing not to spend money, and I believe my income, I am grateful, the energy of money is still flowing to me. And to feel what that feels like, to get really good at feeling that and flowing it to your heart. Then the energy's open. And then the story has to form that allows that to manifest in your physical world.
That'll be awesome.
It will be awesome. It'll be awesome to hear what your story is. I believe this profusely. I've seen it over and over and over in my life now that I've been doing this for 25 years. And what I loved, I knew somehow when I was your age with, and maybe a little bit older than you when this hit us, because we had 4 kids at the time. I knew if I put all of what I had learned to practice and what I was learning, that my life would look different in 5 years, 10 years, 15 and 20 years. And I'm really grateful I trusted that because of where I am now. Because it builds over time. And it's really exciting that you're learning this now.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for this time in my life, being able to open it up right now instead of later.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
The one thing you can do in the meantime that will really help when you're in that place where you feel the same feeling you felt as a child, I can't have what I need. Shampoo's a need. I can't even have what I need because we don't have the income. I can't have it effortlessly because there's no income. When you feel that, give it back. Imagine giving that back to your parents. That was their story. And then tell the little girl that was told that, tell her to come join you in your story. And we're creating something very different. You can always have you can have not only what you need, but you're going to have the things you want and desire, just like Jane didn't need a red truck or a house on a lake. She didn't need it in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Shampoo's the need category.
It's interesting because I felt like I was building a new story. Like we bought our house,
Yes.
We had stable jobs. I didn't have to work anymore.
Yes.
And then that disappeared.
Right. Well, you can tell your husband that's his family story and he's the one. No. Well, it worked for his family story of losing a job suddenly, like no. It's just an old story. That's all it is. And it's when you can rewrite. Because, and I imagine you'll find it in the family stories. These stories go all the way back through our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have the remnants of them still running in our energy system. And you'll now be able to change that. But see, that's where you want to do the clearing of the anger. That's, because that's the other side of it. Be honest with yourself and write out, I'm really angry because I was in this position.
I haven't let myself feel a lot of the emotions, at least not openly. I've written them down, but I don't want to face them in a way.
I think you're ready to. They'll move fast because ultimately they just need to they need to be acknowledged. That's it. Yeah, emotion really moves very quickly to a place of balance when we just give it acknowledgement, give it attention and say, that's legitimate. You should, it's reasonable. You're angry about that.
Yeah.
And it was nothing you did. That's the other piece.
My husband took a little while to react too, which I didn't expect. He's a type 1. I expected him, but he was very surface, just
Yeah.
This is what I do. Now I'm going to go up and I'm going to find a job. Like, it was interesting to watch him go through that way. And then later, like a week later, then he started venting to me all of his frustrations.
Yeah. That's good. You maybe could each be each other's sounding board for a moment. So, okay, your turn. Let it out. Because you have another choice. That's why when you don't feel you have another choice and you go to that place, you feel like, oh, I don't want to get stuck there, but it's a place you want to cleanse that. You want to clear it out, and it frees you up to create these other choices.
Okay.
So they're not harboring and festering. And then you tend to get triggered and take them out on each other in incidentals that aren't even about that.
Yes.
Because you've got to vent that energy, and it comes out in these inappropriate ways. So I'm excited for you. I think you guys you'll be amazed what will happen for you in 30 days.
I'm really
excited. A new job by the end of the 30-day money cure. Let's put that out there. That's going to happen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carly. Well, I appreciate everyone's attention today. What came up for you? What did you learn from today's special broadcast? What one thing are you choosing to do different right now to be different, to shift your energy differently? What was the one thing that you had an aha on? I bet you had more than one, but let's at least share one. And again, my announcements, Mother's Day sale starts tomorrow, 20% off all jewelry, makeup, and hairstyle. The style kits will be $59. If you're a lifestyle member, you get free shipping and a 10% coupon on top of any single order. If you've got a quick question for me, let's do some Q&A, then we'll do our giveaways. Do you need to know your type to go through the money cure? No, not necessarily. You don't need to know. Good chance you'll come to know it because it's more information in there to help you see that. And if my biggest money wish right now is to have security of substantial savings, how does the flowing of money help? Am I resisting allowing money to accumulate? Yes, those are two functions of money that create wealth, flow and accumulation. If you have weak energy on either one of those, you will not create wealth and abilities for income streams that accumulate. And I teach you how to create that in your own energy system. And what creates that in your energy system. Week 2 goes into that very specifically in the 4-week, in the 30-day course. So you can create the accumulation factor. Aha, my husband doubled our income since the last round of the money cure. We are signing up again for the pandemic course. You're going to find that the course, if for any return customers, you can sign up for $79. Just go to caroltuttle.com / something member, MC member.
I think it's member.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the comments.
Okay. And you'll get it for $79, which is $20 less than we've done years prior. And the other thing is, what is the pandemic edition? Well, I created a new clearing for pandemic financial fears that is in every week of the course. So that's set up. So you'll do it every week. And the conversation will support in the Facebook group, the private Facebook group, the conversation will support anything that's coming up for you right now. And the coaching calls will be tweaked to focus on our current events as well. But the course itself is solid for taking you through with the current events, bringing up what is timely and perfect for you to shift this right now. And then another aha, it totally works. 2018 course helped me get the exact job I wanted. So you're seeing a lot of success stories. They're in the hundreds and hundreds. We've had thousands of people take this course. I've read hundreds and hundreds of success stories. I'm sure there's thousands of them because I don't hear from everybody. But we've got some winners that are in a position that really could use the money cure right now. We've got Madison Shelton. She says, my husband won't be going back to work at his minimum wage job until at least June, if ever. We've been doing our best to practice affluence and befriend money, and we trust that it will come, but we have no idea how that will happen right now. We have 2 little kiddos, and the money cure would be a huge blessing for all 4 of us. So we're going to be excited to have you join us, Madison. And then Lorraine Johnson. My partner has always controlled the money. I am in a position where I feel I need to leave the relationship, and I don't know how to manage money. I'm very committed to doing this course. I am in college, becoming a teacher. I have 11 kids. I need to know I can take care of myself and my children's. Thank you, Lorraine, for sharing that. We want to help you with that. And then Kristen Martin, I'm without a job with 2 boys at home and getting unemployment. I'm sharing my unemployment income with my 19-year-old daughter because she lives on her own but hasn't qualified for unemployment. I would love to be part of the Money Cure and have the time and motivation to apply to it. I need a new light and path to help me. I am a type 1 that tries so hard to make progress and do better for my family. So all 3 of you will be a part of that, and we're going to see huge success for each of you and all the rest of you to join in. Please join this year. You'll be so glad you did. You'll have stories just like my 3 guests. You'll have your story. I'm excited to hear what that is. And then I think that's it. We'll see you in the Money Cure. We start May 18th, so 2 weeks from now. It's going to be great. It's amazing. I'm grateful for this information more than ever, considering the bigger story that's playing out here on the planet. You can craft your own story. You are the engineer of your reality, and I want to teach you how to do that with money. We'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.